We now travel to the facilities of WWL-TV in New Orleans, Louisiana, and say good morning for our radio audience. Good morning again, and for our television audience, good morning to Richard Barrett, head of the nationalist movement in this country. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Mike.
It's good to have you with us. What's your hat say? Is it?
Well, this is a cotton bowl indicating rural American. Of course, a working man's cap indicating working man. I guess it ties in with my motto, a paycheck is better than a welfare check.
And I'm sure that that symbolizes blacks who worked in the field and picked cotton in the South as well, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly doesn't signify dividing the country and talking about black power, yellow power, pink power. I think we're going to talk about red, white, and blue power, and that's what America ought to all be about.
All right. Some of the things, as we mentioned to the radio audience, may be repetitive to them, but that's because the television audience has joined us now. Why did you protest? We saw a clip earlier of the protest in Atlanta from CBS News. Why did you protest the Martin Luther King holiday?
Well, you notice that John Kennedy said that we were going to place a man on the moon by 1970. That was his commitment. Well, Richard Barrett's commitment is we're going to allow the American people to set foot in American cities by the end of this century, without crime, without looting, and without riots. When I flew the flag in the streets of Atlanta last Saturday, you notice we were attacked by the haters and the rioters, but I thought a little bit like Fort McHenry, when the redcoats were sending in the bombs, and I thought, well, the black coats can send them in too, but through it all, our flag was still there, and that's good for freedom in America.
Are you a racist, Richard?
Well, if you mean do I hate someone or am I mean towards someone because of their race, I certainly am not. But should everyone have pride in their ethnic background and in their heritage? Well, I think everyone should have that.
Well, will you sit here for the audience and say that that a black man is equal to you in all respects?
Well, I don't even think a non-white person would say that. Certainly, they can play basketball better than I can, but the real issue is, should there be favors for the few in America? If there is, then I say there's injustice for all. And the reason we're taking to the street, Mike, is because, you know, the Supreme Court is fed up with affirmative action, but really, the victory isn't going to come from courts. It's going to come from the streets and ultimately from the hearts of the American people. That's why when I was in Atlanta, I said our love of America will conquer the hatred of those who want to bring down the American way of life. And what is the American way of life, or what should it be? Well, if it is anything, it's got to mean the American people can buy and sell, live and work, hire and fire in freedom. And that necessarily means we've got to abolish the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, the Forced Housing Acts, so that old folks in Yonkers...
Everything that gives a black man in this country a chance, right? Abolish all that.
Everything that gives them preferences and favors. In Yonkers, New York, the elderly people need to live out their golden years without having drugs and crime and looters and rioters move into their neighborhoods. If private property and freedom means anything, it means vote in Mississippi, not have a federal judge tell you can't vote unless you put a Negro in office. It means abolish black power in Atlanta, pink power in San Francisco, yellow power in San Antonio, and replace it with red, white, and blue power. That's what America's all about.
We go to the phones on the Mike Scinto Show on 1290 WHIO Radio and Television 7. We say good morning to Carla. Hi.
Yes, I would like to ask the gentleman, why does he fear blacks having the same rights as he does? And if it's the court that has to bring up these rights and make sure that we are equal, why does he fear, you know, blacks or...
You're afraid of them, aren't you, Richard?
Okay, I'm afraid of the tyranny that Martin Luther King and his crowd is bringing to America. What I mean by that is, you notice that when Mr. Bush went in office, Mr. Dukakis didn't get so many seats in the White House, because democracy is winner take all. That's what freedom is all about. In the last 30 years, though, you're getting quotas that are taking away opportunity for people who work more. You're getting affirmative action that are denying seats in classrooms to people that study harder. You're having favors for the few, and that means injustice for all. What I want to do is I want to have maybe the 10 Commandments observed in America. Thou shalt not steal neighborhoods, streets, and homes in the name of so-called civil rights. Thou shalt not bear false witness against America by saying it's unjust and it's hateful. America is the greatest, noblest country in the world, and if you're disenchanted in this country, the nationalist movement offers you two solutions. One is get down on your knees and be thankful you're an American and work to better our great country. Otherwise, join the safety valve where you can be repatriated if you're unhappy. Jews to Israel, Mexicans to Mexico, Orientals back to the Orient. But let America be a brotherhood of
You forgot blacks back to Africa, Richard.
Well, there are many. Farrakhan, I think, is one of them that says they want to go back to Africa. And Marcus Garvey had the same view. Not in a hateful way. But
No.
But if there's going to be if there's going to be social change in America, let it be peaceful with a vision that those who want to live and work and hire and fire can do it in freedom, and I'm looking for a great new day because of it.
Richard, I'm a little disappointed because the racists of the past used to at least wear hoods to identify themselves as such. You wear a cotton bowl on your hat.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because, really, in the 60s and 50s, people were called white supremacists and segregationists and other things. Today, the word nationalism stands for the unity of America, keeping us an undivided nation so that we're not a bilingual society. There's one language, the English language. We're not a bisexual society. Men can't marry men. We have one standard, the Christian home and the family. We're not a biracial society. We are the American people, and that's the wave of the future if there's going to be justice in this country.
Carla, thank you for your call. Richard Barrett with us from the studios of WHIO-TV, CBS affiliate in New Orleans, Louisiana. Your call's coming up next as the Mike Scinto Show continues on 1290 WHIO Radio and Television 7.